Good morning from far out Alaska. We get a lot of viewers comments asking about living off the land in Alaska. A lot of people that live down south have never actually been up here, and they're curious about it, of course. So I think it's about time we talk about that a little bit. How realistic is it to live off the land in Alaska? Is it doable? Is it realistic? What are the challenges and what are the rewards? If you have that dream, you might want to stick around. But also, today is the last day of moose season in my area, and I have a little spot that I've been just sort of half-heartedly doing some moose calling over the last couple of weeks, and sometimes that'll bring a bull moose to you. If you stick with it, if you really do it continuously for the moose season, you can. I have called moose almost right up to my camp. I have to go retrieve a game camera, and anyway, so I thought I'd take you along and I'll show you a little tiny sample of calling for moose, trying to get them to come in. Let's go for a ride and a walk. Yeah, it's wet. So, what are some of the challenges of living off the land in Alaska? I'm talking loud now. I'm not close to my spot. Normally when you're hunting, you're not talking. But like I said, I'm just retrieving a game camera and just giving it half effort this year. So what are the challenges? Let's start with hunting, since that's what I'm doing. There's big game animals up here, and a moose will definitely that'll be your meat supply for the year. And there's caribou. That's the two big game primary animals. But it's not as reliable as people think. The woods up here are not just teeming with wildlife. Moose are fairly scarce. Statewide, I've read a figure of 2.5 moose per square mile. And those aren't even, that's just moose. Yet to actually harvest a moose, it has to be a legal bull, generally speaking. And in some areas, a lot of areas, it has to have certain antler restrictions, and it's got to be within season. So, yeah, it's not as reliable. Statewide, it looks like the figure hunter success rate is about 20%. And, for every 10 hunters, 2 get a moose, and those are, a lot of it's just luck. You have to do certain things, but then a lot of times people shoot a moose because it just bumbles out, in front of them. Caribou, they're either not around or there's lots around, and generally you have to go a good distance, depending where you live, of course, but sometimes you have to be flown out. They're pretty highly regulated also. The seasons are kind of strict, so in general, hunting here is not a way to reliably put meat in your freezer. Now we'll move on to fishing. Fishing is a reliable way to put some meat in your freezer because we have salmon and some other species of fish, but salmon they run like crazy. And we participate in a personal use fishery where we dip net the salmon in the Copper River, and we're allowed 45 fish per year for our family of 3. And that's plenty of salmon, 45. Gathering is another way of subsistence in Alaska. A lot of people you see along the highways in the fall, especially late summer, picking berries of all different kinds, blueberries, lingonberries, raspberries, salmon berries. So that's something you can do. Growing food is a whole nother thing. What that does is it keeps you at home, so you're not out hunting or fishing. That's what I've found. I mean, I've done some pretty big gardens up here, 1,000 square feet or so. And you can get certain vegetables to grow very well, as long as you can keep the slugs away and the pests away. And and keep it weeded. You know, you've got to be home babysitting the garden. And getting back to how Alaska has such a short season and everything has to happen in that 90 days, it gets very stressful trying to maintain a garden, go salmon fishing, do some building on your structures or whatever, and go hunting. Hunting season comes up when you're supposed to be harvesting your garden. So yeah, it's all very stressful. Whoever said Alaskans live a laid-back lifestyle does not know what they're talking about. So now let's go to livestock. I think that's actually a pretty good idea. I've never done anything with just chickens. You'd be better off to, rather than go spend your money on hunting, you'd be better off to just buy some sheep or buy a cow, butcher the thing, and put it in the freezer. 100% success rate instead of the 20% success rate for moose. So yeah, livestock. But again, that keeps you home. That keeps you from doing other things. Animals are a responsibility, an everyday responsibility. And then there's the building season. That eats up your time. Yeah, that all needs to happen while you're hunting, fishing, gathering berries, and growing your garden. So yeah, everything happens at the same time here. Another thing that kind of makes it a challenge in Alaska is cost of living. It's one of the most high cost of living places in the world. Everybody has to have some cash. Like I said, nobody lives 100% off the land, so cost of living is a big factor in Alaska. You can supplement your existence, but nobody's living 100% off the land. I wouldn't count on being able to do that. Okay, yeah. There's no real trail here, so it's a little bit hard walking, but I don't want to be completely discouraging about trying to live a subsistence-based lifestyle in Alaska. There are rewards, of course. I wouldn't be here if it was all bad, doom and gloom, hardship and such. For one thing, it's freedom. When you live in Alaska, you feel like you have a certain amount of freedom to do as you please, of course, within the law. You know, there's millions of acres of public land. I've got friends that deer hunt back east, and they pretty much have to ask permission to go hunting because it's all private property, very little public property. Down here, up here, millions of acres of federal and state land. So we get that freedom to go and pursue our activities, whatever it may be, whenever we want to on public land. There's very little government restriction on things. If you live in close to the city, there's a fair bit of property tax and sales tax in some areas. There's no income tax so far in Alaska, so it has its good side. And then the big reward is that it's beautiful scenery. We get, well, the shitty days like this where you can't see anything. It's gray sky. Unfortunately, that's the best moose hunting season. Weather is shitty weather, rainy, cold. Yeah, beautiful scenery. When the weather's nice, it's eye-popping, and you really never get tired of it. So here's something I do. I do this all the time, not just during hunting season, but I'll take a piece of yellow string, construction string, and I'll tie it to something across the trail, and then just drape it on something on the other side of the trail, and that tells me if something big walked through here, because I'll come through and the yellow string will be, pulled. That's how I know there's moose in here, aside from the fact that this little trail I'm following is beat down by moose traffic. Trouble is, it's so thick in here you can't see them. But it's good to have a realistic expectations if you're thinking of moving to Alaska and living off the land. That's probably not doable, not realistic. It is doable to live a subsistence lifestyle, to where you have 1 foot in town and 1 foot in the woods. That's totally doable up here, totally doable. There are easier places to live a subsistence lifestyle, and the further south you go, the easier it is to do everything. Yeah, I hope I've given you some things to think about. Fire any questions at me. If I don't have the answer, I'll help you find the answer. I got a little further to go, and then I'll give you just a little quick demonstration of calling moose during the rut season. It's kind of fun just to see if you can call and get a response from bulls or cows. They both answer. I've actually called a grizzly bear almost right into my camp by imitating a cow moose. It's probably inevitable somebody will comment what rifle I'm using. I always carry this. It is a 300 Win Mag Ruger Hawkeye. I love it. It shoots very flat. You don't at 200 yards that's my maximum shot that I'll take. I think that's responsible. But at 200 yards, you don't have to worry about bullet dropping or even windage. It's just the thing's just it throws lead really hard. Yeah, for moose, a 30-06 will work, but a 300 Win Mag will give you that little extra straight level shot. So for you gun nuts out there, Ruger Hawkeye 300 Win Mag, love it. All right, let's go call some moose. Easy to get lost in this shit. Okay, here's my spot. Yeah, just a little spot that I've cleared. You still can't see much around here, but if you call moose in the rut, in the bull season, in the rut season, the bulls get really stupid, and they'll investigate almost anything that sounds remotely like a female moose or another male. So let me get set up here. That was a cow call. First I scraped like a bull, making noise, and then I did a cow call. And then I like to wait a few minutes, 15-20 minutes. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to wait now, and then do a bull call. And sometimes that'll get two bulls or one bull out there thinking that there's a cow, but there's competition, so he'll, come running. And it can take, like I said, you have to do this for every day for a week to 2 weeks to get them. They don't just run trot straight up to you. So a bull call is, I'm terrible at it, but it's kind of like this. Then what I would do is just sit here and listen for about 20 or 30 minutes and listen for an answer. Sometimes it'll bring even a cow close to you, which is a sign that you're doing it right. But it's late in the rut right now, and you almost can't do this wrong. Even just standing and breaking sticks attracts a bull moose because he thinks it's another one. So, thanks for hanging out with me.